ISIS targets in Syria over the past 24 hours. Several retailers in this country want to make sure their customers get holiday gifts on time. CBS's Jim Chenevey.
Christmas will come earlier this year, or at least the gifts will. The major online retailers, including Amazon, Walmart, and Macy's, are said to be working behind the scenes to improve shipping times this holiday season. Some are building massive warehouses. Others are planning to ship directly from the nearest store. Amazon will be using robots this year to pull items for shipment from its warehouses. Jim Chenevey, CBS News.
Exit U.S. Airways Flight 1939, named for the founding year of the airline, left Philadelphia this morning for San Francisco, the last leg of its round-trip intermediate stops in Charlotte and Phoenix. All future flights will be under the American Airlines brand. That's the conclusion of a merger the 2 years.
Mission given to me by Woody Shaw, Sunship, Dizzy, and John Kahn, dedicated to pursuing a piece of our cultural heritage through interviews with my music heroes. This is the Jake Feinberg Show. Inside the Parisi Palace, high above 2919 East Broadway. This is the Jake Feinberg Show on Power Talk 1210 KEVT, Sahuarita, Tucson. Thank you so much for making us part of your day today. And it is my honor to bring in now one of the most unheralded double bass players in the world, live from Paris, France. Francois Rabbath, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Hi.
How are you, brother?
Good, very good.
Good, man. Hey, listen, right off the bat here, I want to play you something. This is an interview I did with a musician from 2012. I want you to listen to this, yes, and then we'll come back and talk about it, okay?
Okay.
You kind of got into jazz in the mid to late 60s, and I think you were on the East Coast at the time, and I wanted to know specifically the guys you were getting off on, and if you were able, if you saw them live, where you were seeing them and how it affected your mandolin playing.
Well, I just got into listening to jazz because when I first started listening to it, I couldn't comprehend how it was put together. But actually, my friend Winnie Winston, he turned me on to my first quote-unquote jazz record, which I don't even know if you've heard of this, but it's a record called Baseball. Do you know who made that record?
I was going to say maybe, give me a minute here. Louis Bellson?
That's a good guess.
No, go ahead.
Just his bass and drums.
And
it's a bass player's record.
Okay, who was it?
A guy named Francois Rabbath.
Yeah, that. All right, my man. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Okay.
Yes.
So that is one of the preeminent mandolin players in the world named David Grisman, and that was a.
Oh yes.
So I mean, the idea that he started to talk to me about Francois Rabbath 2 years ago about this album Baseball, and then that was the track that we were playing on the lead in. It's such an honor to be able to connect with you, my friend, and Truly an honor.
Me too.
Truly an honor to connect with you. And I wanted to ask you, the first time that you saw somebody playing jazz on the upright bass.
I saw or I hear.
Either one, but the first memory you have of hearing the upright bass in a jazz context.
La première fois que tu as vu un jazzman. The jazzman that I hear, the first time it's not Ray Brown, but before Slam Stewart. Slam Stewart. When I hear Slam Stewart, I was very young. I was 13 years old, and I begin the bass, and I say. I was impressed by his improvisation, and he was playing bow, and he was playing jazz improvisation, and I say, it's fantastic. I must do that one day.
Well, can I ask you, yes. Francois? Okay, so up till that point, were you only? I mean, so much of classical music is rooted in the musicians following the creativity of the conductor. Would you say that Slam Stewart was doing things on his own improvisationally, and that's what it was? I mean, can you talk? Was he the first one that was doing things improvisationally on the bass?
Improviser. Yes, that's the point. It's he was playing and singing the bass. I never heard that before. Normally, it's not. He impressed me, and I like his way how he improvised. I didn't know him, and I never met him, unfortunately. But he is the one of the bass player who I can say I was inspired to play the bass, to begin to play the bass.
Let me ask you, talking to a legendary double bass player, Francois Rabbath, what about so you mentioned Ray Brown, but when did you, could you talk about your first professional gig where you got paid?
La première fois que tu as été payé, la première fois, c'était quoi la première fois que tu as été payé pour jouer la contrebasse? At 13 years old.
And what was it?
I began to play the bass, but I was putting in the orchestra with my brother in Lebanon, and I began to play the bass at 13 years old. I was earning my own money, but I was very bad bass player in this time.
Were you playing classical music?
No, jazz. I began to study at home the classical, and I was playing jazz. I was playing in the cabaret, nightclub, in the mood, body and soul. All this kind of. I was with the orchestra with my brother, piano, drum, and me, and violin, and we was five brothers. And we was playing in a new cabaret, nightclub.
In a cabaret,
but I
right?
was playing jazz, not classical jazz.
Did you say Lebanon? In Lebanon?
Yes. Lebanon, in Beirut, in Lebanon.
Oh wow, this is unbelievable. So, can you tell me what kind of tunes were you playing? Were you playing standards, or were you playing?
Yes.
Anything original coming out of you at that point?
No. There was the standard, Body and Soul, the mood, the man I love. What I can say, all this stuff, the standard of the jazz.
And I just think I always try to ask my guests. Their interpretation of the word. Everything in our culture now has become very intellectualized. I wanted you to describe what you think the word jazz means to you, and if that meaning has changed over the time of your career.
Écoute, the jazz. I don't know if we can say jazz. I can say it's a masterpiece of jazz. The jazz, it's like Bach. I can say because they have, Gershwin. This kind of a beautiful composer, and they make some music. It's fantastic. So I think it's. We must say jazz like we can say classical, but in the same quality. Not jazz because I was playing in nightclub. Yes, because it was popular, but everybody was loving that. And now when I play the same piece now, because I have maturity. It's like if when I play a piece of Bach and after I play jazz, the man I love, it's the same. It's the same. It's fantastic. It's the same.
What do you mean? I'm sorry. As a non-musician, tell me what you mean the same. Because to me, classical music is very uniform. There are no chord changes. There's not a lot of improvisation. Otherwise, what's coming from the composer or the director. I mean, when you say the same, are you talking about the reception from the audience or the music itself?
Not just the audience, the music himself. It's serious. Now, the jazz become I can say classical. It's serious.
Right.
Music.
That's right.
Not because you improvise in the jazz that it mean improvising. That mean make a melody, compose a melody instantaneously. It's fantastic. And the classical player like to do that also, but it's special. You must be trained to do that from very young. You cannot be classical and decide to improvise. It's different.
Francois, though, I mean, I want to.
Yeah.
I mean, for the health and the longevity of the art form of jazz, I mean, didn't you truthfully grow up with it as a street music? I mean, whether it was in Beirut, obviously you were in the clubs, but it was. Do you consider it, even though you were playing music in clubs in Beirut, Lebanon, do you consider it a black American art form, jazz?
Est-ce que tu pensais qu'à Beyrouth, tu avais conscience que c'était une musique de black?
No, not in Lebanon. I think the jazz, the jazz, it was popular. It was we didn't know. In this case, for example, the musician, no. It's black, but not the people and the public didn't know.
Right, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is the idea that in this country, a lot of people say that the music of jazz came over from the slaves through diaspora in the Middle Islands, and then it got into New Orleans. And in fact, it was music that was played in whorehouses and brothels. And the music swung. It swung really hard, and then you fuse that with European classical music, and you get jazz. But that's what's your take on that?
On what?
I guess what I'm trying to say is it's fascinating for me that you were playing jazz standards in Lebanon. When in fact it seems like the birthplace of jazz was America. I want a different perspective, especially from somebody of your pedigree, as to where jazz came from.
Yeah, at this time, jazz music was the popular music. It was in the 40s.
45
for my dad. 45.
Yeah.
So 1945. So when you was going in the nightclub, it was the music that people want to dance on, and classical was music who was played in the opera house. But when you want to go outside and dance, it was jazz music.
But it's anyhow it's coming from this I can say the black people who invent the jazz at the beginning, but after the white people took it and make it also, and I think no, it's universal. I don't think so. I cannot say even black or white.
Right.
I can say jazz.
Right. No,
coming
it's fine.
from everything, from everywhere, from all the people, all kind of people. You don't need to be black to do it. Many friends of mine, Ray Brown and Rufus Reed and all my friends are. But I play with them, and I don't feel that I am black or white.
Of course. No, the musician does not. I'm just, this is, for me, this is one of the cruxes of my show, is to be able to go back to people who were creating well before I was ever even conceived. I mean, your career, and to try to gain an understanding of not just the terminology, but what that word actually means. And it's just so, I mean, you were playing dance music. Is it fair to say it was the music of Duke Ellington and Woody Herman and Benny Goodman, those kinds of tunes?
Yes, exactly.
When did go ahead.
After a long time, after a long time, when I play this kind of music, now when I play them, it's so different. I don't play them like before. It's not. You cannot dance anymore with the when I play them. You listen when I am in the concert and I play Bach, and after I play the man I love. It's completely different. It's not anymore. I can say classical. Yes. It's become music.
Yeah, I think
we call it jazz because it's jazz.
No, I think you're hitting. It's become more serious music. It's become more sit-down music.
Yes.
It's become more listening music.
Exactly.
When did?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Francois, where were you during World War II? Were you involved in the war? Were you playing in bands? And did you cross paths with? Did you cross paths with guys like Joe Henderson and very luminary jazz players when they were in Germany playing? I'm just curious about where you were at when World War II was going on.
But in Lebanon, in this time when I was young, in Lebanon, it was domination, French domination, and the war don't came there. The war was in Europe, and there we was out of the war, and I don't think that the war affect too much this country. Now, my country, my own country, Syria, it's a disaster because I was born in Syria, and after I became Lebanese, and now I am French. The passport, I mean. But in this time, I was in Syria. I began to discover all this music, jazz music and classical in Syria. And after I come to Lebanon, I begin to play in Lebanon. And after I come to Europe and after all the world. But I think we was not affected too much by the war because the war was in Europe.
Right. A lot of the cats I talked to that went over there and they were going to get ready for enlisted, service. And then they wound up showing their abilities on the instrument, and they wound up playing basically for the troops, or they would go out in places like Germany and play in clubs. And then really when we defeated Nazi Germany, the world was overjoyed, and the world exploded with jazz. The music that they came with was jazz, and I'm trying to figure out the first time that you got in a situation where someone like Mingus came over and you had a chance to see some of these really accomplished American jazz players play, or even play with them. Could you share a story about that?
But if I can say, I play with Ornette Coleman, and with Rufus Reid, with Bray Brown in the same evening, and I think it's I don't know. It's the I can say it become noble. The jazz become noble. I can say that it's not anymore dancing music.
Right.
It's become very sophisticated and noble, and that's why I respect this kind of music, because I am born and I begin with, and after I become classical, I play in the opera for 15 years, but still helped me to have the rhythm. In the rhythm, it's very important, and in the classical, it helped me a lot when I was in the orchestra and accompanied a ballet. I was the best player who you cannot count on, because I was, and my underground, it was jazz. And not because I record the Sixth Suite, all the Sixth Suite, that still I have background of jazz, and it's helped me a lot.
Could you talk about that night with Ornette Coleman, how that all went about? Did he just come in and see you and then got up on stage? How did that happen?
It's happened. Ornette Coleman one day he knocked in my door in Paris because he heard my record at baseball, and I meet him like that, and he came to and he say, "I am Ornette Coleman," and I was glad because I know his name. I was very, very, very happy, and I say, "Come." I was in this small room. It was the beginning when I came to France. It was the beginning, so I don't have a big house, small house, just 2 rooms. And he come with his saxophone. He say, "I like to improvise with you, to play with you." I said, "Please." And he come with violin, and I said, "No, saxophone." And we begin to play. He come after the 4 p.m. and we begin to improvise at 4 a.m. We were still playing 12 hours, and the neighbors was hitting the floors to stop. It was fantastic, and it was Ornette Coleman. It's fantastic. And after each time that he come to Paris, he just come with his saxophone. And one day, the story, it's a fantastic story. One day he come and my son, who was speaking with you, he was studying the small bass, really, really small bass. He was not playing, 4 years old. He was not playing, he was just passing the bow on the string like that without playing, Mm-hmm. And Ornette Coleman was playing together, and he come from the school. And he looked at me and said, "I can play with you." I asked Ornette, "You like to play with that?" He said, "Yes, sir." Oh. And he began to with the small. It's quarter of cello, And Ornette Coleman, he began to play like a crazy. And I tried to go in. I was out. They was fantastic together. And that is very, very funny. And when Ornette see this young guy, he liked to play with him. It was like a foolish. He don't say no. And one day I passed in the Carnegie Hall, and I invite him to play with me one piece. I write for him one piece, and we play together.
Wow.
It was fantastic. This man, I am sorry. Now, each time that I make a concert and I say this is for my friend, and I dedicate him one piece in all my concerts because I lose my friend. Voilà.
Mm-hmm. What's the name of the piece that you played with him at Carnegie Hall? What's the name of it?
It's dedicated for him.
Yeah.
I don't remember. And this piece is fantastic because I have it in one recording. It's Carnegie Hall, but I don't remember the name of the piece. Yes, it's dedicated to Ornette. I don't just maybe Ornette. I think I called it Ornette Coleman or Ornette, something like that.
Hey, Francois, how can you talk a little bit about how the album Baseball came about? Because obviously we played that audio clip of David Grisman, and I mean we're talking about a guy who plays bluegrass music, but swing music, dog jazz he calls it, and there's a swing element to it. And I'm just trying to figure out how conceptually you decided to come up with an album with only drum and bass.
Well, I was playing with. It's a little story, but I was playing with Aznavour, the singer, and one. Comment il s'appelle? I must remember the name. He come and say to me, it's American. He come and say to me, you make a recording? I say no. He say, make me a try. I say okay. He was a couple. Il s'appelle Quincy Jones.
Oh
voilà.
Yeah, Quincy.
He saw me with Aznavour, and he say, make me try. Okay, I say okay. And I go to the Philips,
Of course, yep.
And I say to them, Philips, the company, and I say, I like to hire you to your studio because I like to make a try. And they say, for who? I say, for Quincy Jones. The one of the director go up and come, and he give me a contract and say, sign here. I say, why? He say because you must pay the studio. Like that you cannot pay. You don't pay nothing. Okay, I signed the contract because of name of Quincy Jones. And and they say to me, but now do a 3-piece to try. So I ask two different composers, and I must do one, and I compose myself. I am not composer in this time. I compose Bitume, the first in the record. Okay, and when I do that, all the company decide that it will be my piece. I say, but I am not composer. He say, this is the piece that everybody likes. So I compose in 1 week. 1 week or 10 days, I compose the 12th piece that in the baseball, and we record them, and in 10 days we do everything. I was astonished myself how I can do that, because I make sometimes a playback. In this time, you have just 2 tracks, and we have 2 different recorder. We must play this one, and after you cannot smash or cut or nothing. You must play it from different. And sometimes I make three bass one after. You cannot make a mistake, and it was hard, but in 10 days it was made. It was baseball.
And who is
baseball?
I'm obsessed with this. I mean, this album is. I've never seen it before. It's very hard to get. And I'm curious about who you brought in to play trap set with you, drums.
It's my idea. I say it's the first time. All the time you have the harmony, we have piano, we have battery, we have You have not battery, you have piano, we have orchestra. I say I want to prove the first time that two percussion, I call myself percussion like the bassist percussion.
Sure.
Two percussion can make a recording. And I do it. It was a challenge in a way. And I succeeded. It happened. And it was a big hit.
Who was the drummer? Who was his name?
Armand Molinetti. He's dead now. Armand Molinetti, we was making session together, all session in Paris, you know. And when I decide, I call him, and he was a very good jazz player. He played with Grappelli. He played with many jazz players, and we do that together. I write every note, everything for the battery. Everything was writing.
Unbelievable. I mean,
we rehearse a lot at home, and we do it in the studio. 10 days. It was fantastic challenge.
You know, just switching over to a little bit of sociology with you, Francois. Could you talk a little bit about, especially for so many Americans who don't travel around the world that much and sort of get caught in our own bubble, myself included. Why? Can you give me a glimmer of hope about your homeland in Syria? I know it's very bleak right now, but are the people, by and large, still people of love? How worried are you about the continuation of that society there? Can you talk a little bit about...
Very, very worried. Yeah, they destroy my home. They destroy everything. It's a shame. It's a nightmare.
Why have people become so desperate? Why have they become so desperate? Why have they become so fearful of to the point of destroying and killing and not even really aware of the humanity?
No. It's more than that. You have two sections. They want to have the power, and they fight to have the power. It's so stupid, and the people are dying because two different Shiite and Sunni, each one of another want to have the power, and that's it. It's not more than that. It's stupid. It's a shame. They are killer. You know. They destroy my town, my country. I am French now. It's okay, but I still have parents there, and I still have uncle, and it's a catastrophe. It's a shame.
What is their quality of life like right now? Your parents and your uncle. What is their day like? I mean, are they? Is it always a very dangerous situation?
It's a hard situation because you cannot. It's a ruin. It's not any town. It's not town anymore. It's a ruin. Les ruines, comment on appelle ça en anglais? When you blow the bomb, you don't have any house anymore. It's a catastrophe. I can say the president must be ashamed to do that.
Can you talk about the first time that you came to perform in the United States?
Yes, in Carnegie Hall in 73, I think. 75 or 73, I don't remember, but in the... and after I do you cannot imagine how every year I was bringing my especially my bass player. Imagine I begin with Barry Green asked me to come and to do after the Carnegie Hall to come and to do master class, and it was the international base, and they discovered me there. And after it's Paul Ellison he was the solist of the symphonic orchestra of Houston, and after it's Frank Proto from Cincinnati. He write for me 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces, Paganini and concerto, and I play with the symphonic orchestra in there, and I don't stop doing master class and concert now for everywhere in the States. I was, for example, next year I am going to Kansas City with John Hamill and Minneapolis with Brian and New York next year in June, and Canada. 40 years I go, 25 years in Canada every year. In July I go and masterclass and concert, and in Poland I am going to Poland in August, and Australia in September, or Hobart, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. I wonder. I have 84 years old, and how I can do it. I have good health, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean it's yeah. I mean, I just feel like what about Ray Brown? Did Ray come to see you in Europe, or did you meet him in the States?
I don't know. I meet him in the States, and after he come to see me at home, and we was a very good friend, and he's fantastic. One day, I go to see him in Paris. He was playing concert, and he see me, and I saw his face, he smile, and he say, he was in trio. He sent the bass, the piano, and the drummer, and he say, I'm going to play a solo for the biggest bass player in the world. And I was ashamed. I don't know what to do. And he played 20 minutes.
No.
Alone.
No.
Imagine. Exactly. It's fantastic. I never saw that. Pizzicato. Want to do the ball? Pizzicato. It could. When I finished, I stand up, I kiss him, and fantastic. But that is Ray Brown. After we see each other in Cincinnati and in Houston, in many places, in L.A., I play with him. He was a great man. He's a fantastic bass player and jazz. Wow. Well, it's Ray Brown. Yeah. Who can be Ray Brown? Nobody.
We have a piece of music here to play for you, Francois, on Power Talk 1210. Settle in, take a listen, and then we'll come back and talk about it, okay?
Okay.
music on the Jake Feinberg Show, brought to you in part by the Stereo Hospital, the Circle Tree Ranch, Abbott Taylor Jewelers, and the Jewish Community Center of Tucson, Arizona, and we appreciate their support. Do you recognize that tune, Francois?
Yes. Yeah, I know. Well, it's when I hear it now, and I make maybe 25 CD and 5-6 DVD, and it's so far because I do that in '62, and still modern. You can hear it because the company release it now again. I don't understand.
Right.
It's become classical. You don't have any. It's not something that you forgot, and it's still like now. If I do it now, and many of my pupils play them now. It's fantastic.
Before I let you go, as we wrap up part one here with Francois Rabbath live from Paris, France, and we appreciate him staying up late with us, although maybe this isn't very late for him. Just your concept of love. Could you talk to the audience about your concept of love and how you bring love to people in your life?
Yes. This is the most important thing when I can say. I begin to say to all my pupils, every one of us are unique. Don't be jealous. Don't try to be better than the neighbors. That's being better than the other. Be yourself. Grow up and you cannot. Why? Because if you want to be better than the other, you ignore the other. And you will die alone. If you want to live and especially to admire the people, to don't stay. But you must. Why? You must give your love for that. You must like and love the people. If you don't love the people. When I make a concert, I love the people. I play for them with my son, Sylvain. We are here to give them a love, not music. It's the only things that you can give. And believe me, I receive a lot now because I give so much love because it's natural for me to love the people. It's the most important things also. And I don't want to die alone. And if you love the people, when you die, they will come with you to help you to go away. And I think it's the only things the word. It's beautiful. It's love.
Well, Mr. Rabbath, I love you, man. I look forward to connecting with you. And if my wife and I ever get a chance to go on a honeymoon, we're coming to Paris. So maybe we can meet one day too. But I just want to thank you for all your contributions to the world of music. And we'll be in touch, my friend. It's so great to connect with you.
Me too. And thank you for your emission and immersion. And if you come to Paris, you will be welcome because I can make you a coffee, Turkish coffee or Lebanese coffee.
Yes, I would love that.
You cannot forget that.
Oh my! I look forward to it, my friend. I will talk.
Absolutely.
I will talk to you soon. Okay. I will talk to you soon.
Oh, sure.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. We'll be right back
Cheers.
on the Jake Feinberg Show.
Yeah.